Have you ever stopped to think about this? Your parents probably earned more than their parents, and you almost certainly earn more than them. So why does it feel like everyone is just as broke as they've ever been? Well, it's not just in your head, and I promise you it's probably not your fault. Let's dig in.
You see, there is one single financial trap that almost every single generation walks right into. It doesn't matter how much money they make, it doesn't matter how smart they are. Boomers, Gen X, Millennials, and yeah, even the super savvy Gen Z, it gets every single one of them. But by the end of this, you're going to know exactly what it is, and more importantly, how you can finally sidestep it for good.
So here's the game plan. We're going to take a trip through the last 4 generations to see exactly how this sneaky pattern keeps repeating itself, how it's changed over time, and this is the most important part, how you can be the one to finally break the cycle.
So what is this invisible trap? Well, the reason it's so powerful, the reason it catches everyone, is because it doesn't feel like a trap at all. It feels good. It feels like you're winning. It feels like progress. Okay, so this trap actually has a name. It's called lifestyle creep, and it's super simple. You get a raise, so you think, great, I can afford a nicer apartment. You land that promotion, and suddenly that old car just won't do. Your income goes up by, say, $5,000 a year, and somehow your spending magically goes up by $5,000 a year to match it. So on paper, you're making more, but in real life, you're not saving $1 more than you were before. All those things that used to be a luxury, they just quietly become your new normal.
And here's where the math makes this whole thing even trickier. Let's say you get a totally normal 4% raise on a $100,000 salary. Your brain goes, awesome, that's an extra $4,000 a year. But then, real-world inflation hits. We'll use 2.9% for this example. So your actual real-life spending power didn't go up by $4,000, it went up by about $1,100. That's less than $100 a month. But which number do we spend? We spend the $4,000. We create our own personal inflation that's way worse than the real thing.
And I really want you to see that this is not a new problem. It's not a Gen Z thing or a millennial thing. This pattern just repeats and repeats with a slightly different flavor for each generation. So let's rewind and see how it all got started.
First up, the baby boomers. Now, they didn't invent this trap, but they were definitely the ones who perfected it on a massive scale. They literally wrote the playbook for the modern American dream and for lifestyle creep.
You have to put yourself in their shoes for a second. Their parents, the silent generation, came out of World War II. They dealt with rationing, with genuine scarcity. So when the boomers came of age in this incredible post-war economic boom, what did they do? They did the most logical thing in the world. They upgraded everything. They got the house, the new car, the color TV, because for the first time, they could. And you could do it all on a single income.
But here's the catch. Here's where the trap was set. The big mistake wasn't about being reckless or overspending. It was about normalization. Every single upgrade just became the new minimum standard. The starter home wasn't good enough anymore. The 1 vacation a year turned into 2. They didn't burn through their money. They just cemented a higher cost of living. And for a lot of them, when retirement came and the income stopped, the cost of that normal life was still there.
All right, next up, Generation X. They watched what their boomer parents did, and they probably thought, we'll be smarter about this. But they fell into the exact same trap, only this time, someone had thrown gasoline on the fire. That gasoline was easy credit.
See, Gen X grew up right as credit cards became a thing you just had in your wallet, and that changed the entire equation. Suddenly, you didn't have to wait until you could afford the upgrade, you could have it right now. The mindset shifted from, can I afford this, to, can I afford the monthly payment? It became normal to carry debt, to get a mortgage for the absolute biggest number the bank would approve, all while magazines and TV were screaming at you to keep up with the Joneses. And this is a perfect, real-life example of that mindset. There was this caller, Todd, on The Ramsey Show. He explained that he took out a $60,000 loan against his house to build a pool and pay off some other bills. But because the habit of spending never changed, he just ended up right back in debt again. It's the classic story of using debt to fund a lifestyle your income can't actually support.
So for Gen X, the trap got an upgrade. It wasn't just about your spending rising to meet your income anymore. It was about your spending rising to meet the promise of your future income. It was finance normalization. Basically, buy now, pay forever.
And that brings us to the Millennials. Now, you would really think, this would be the generation to finally figure it out. They're more financially literate, they've read all the blogs, they know the term lifestyle creep, and yet they're caught in the trap worse than ever, thanks to what I like to call the digital pressure cooker. See, for Gen X, comparison was your neighbor's new lawnmower. For Millennials, it's the perfectly filtered, endlessly curated highlight reel of every single person you've ever met, all day, every day. The trip to Bali, the kitchen remodel, the job promotion, it created this intense pressure to maintain a visual standard of living. And this is all happening while they're being crushed by student debt and an insane housing market. It's just a perfect storm for lifestyle creep.
And if you think I'm exaggerating, just look at this number. A survey from CNA Insider found that nearly 3 out of every 10 young adults say they spend more than they earn. Let that sink in. This isn't just about a few people buying too many lattes. This is a massive, widespread issue, and it's fueled by the insane pressure to look like you're succeeding online.
Which brings us to today, to Gen Z, and to the most subtle, most psychologically advanced version of this trap we've ever seen.
Now, Gen Z might be the most financially clued-in generation of all time. I mean, they're talking about ETFs on TikTok, but the trap just evolved again. It's this idea of the soft life. It's a total rejection of millennial hustle culture. It says that comfort, self-care, and having nice things aren't a reward you work for. They're the baseline. And the pressure isn't just social anymore, it's algorithmic. Your phone is literally programmed to create a constant feeling of desire by showing you a life that's just a little bit better than your own.
And how is this soft life premium funded? Well, look no further than the explosion of buy now, pay later services. It's become completely frictionless. You can have that upgrade now, and you just pay for it in 4 easy installments. It doesn't even feel like spending real money. It is lifestyle creep delivered directly to your smartphone.
Okay, so we've seen this play out for 70 years. Boomers, Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z. The big question is, how do you break the cycle? Well, to get out of the trap, you have to understand the psychology that keeps you stuck. And let me be clear, this isn't about being bad with money. It's about being a human being.
There are really 3 main forces keeping us all stuck. The first one is called hedonic adaptation. That's just a fancy way of saying the amazing thrill you get from a new purchase fades really fast, but the monthly payment doesn't. Second is social mirroring. We're wired to match the people around us. Your friend gets a new car, and suddenly your perfectly fine car feels old. And third, there's the identity problem. We attach our spending to our sense of self-worth, so upgrading feels like success, and not upgrading can feel like you're falling behind.
So here it is. This is the big mindset shift. The goal is not just to earn more money. The real goal is to make sure that when your income goes up, the gap between what you earn and what you spend gets wider, not stays the same, wider. Because that gap, that empty space, that is the only place where wealth is actually built.
So what's the escape plan? It's not about depriving yourself. It's about being intentional. The next time you get a raise, a bonus, any kind of extra money, just pause and ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1, did I actively choose this upgrade or did I just sort of drift into it? Number 2, honestly, if this new expense was gone in 6 months, would I even notice? And number 3, the big one, what amazing thing could my future self build with this money if I decided, just this once, to not let my lifestyle catch up?
Look, every generation before you has walked straight into this trap. Not because they were dumb, but because no one ever really explained the rules of the game. But now you know. You see the trap for what it is. And the choice isn't about being cheap now versus living large later. It's about being smart. It's about avoiding that slow, quiet, invisible lifestyle creep today so that you can afford a massive, life-changing lifestyle leap tomorrow.